And it's a true story, but the greeter at the Manchester Walmart's named after my mom. Go figure. And my dad was an amazing doctor. He was a primary care doctor. So he did it all. Kind of, the heart doctor, the stomach doctor, psychiatrist, occasionally marriage counselor. He did it all. And in our town, we only had 2 ambulances. And so we had this big old Delta 88 Oldsmobile. Y'all remember that car, the Delta 88 Oldsmobile stretch? And so that was like the Sethi ambulance. And we'd go pick up patients on the back roads of Grundy County, Coffee County. And I remember this one night very vividly. I was 10 years old. We went to pick up this farmer in Grundy County. He's having chest pain and shortness of breath. And this guy's having a full-on heart attack. And we're driving 100 miles an hour down 41 to get to the hospital. My dad runs this gentleman inside, and he comes back out, and he starts to talk to the family. And that's something I've learned a little bit about as a doctor, about how to talk to families and comfort them. But what I remember the most, I was watching from the backseat of this car, is this gentleman reached in his pocket, and he tried to hand my dad some money. Not once, not twice, but 3 times. And every time my dad just turned it away. He wouldn't take it. And so he gets to the front of the car and starts driving, and I climb up with him, and we're riding home. I was 10 years old. And I just asked him. I said, Dad, why didn't you take that family's money? I don't understand. And what he said next is so important because it's driven the course of my life and who I am as a person. He said, son, it doesn't matter what's in your bank account, but what matters is the difference that you make. And I'll say that again. It does not matter what's in your bank account, but what truly matters, what ultimately matters, is the difference that you make. That's how I was raised in a small town, watching them doctor to farmers, and then boom, my early 20s, I lose my dad to liver cancer. Now, I don't know if any of y'all have lost your mom and dad when you're young, but it does a number on you, and it changes you as a person. And for me, it was like being in quicksand. Nothing I could do, I felt I could just gain my balance. It just was off. But that's when I found Christ. That's when I came to the Lord. That's when I was saved. And that's when I realized that like 3 generations of my family before me, I was going to become a doctor too. So I went off and I did that. And for the last 10 years, I've been in Nashville, Vanderbilt, as a trauma surgeon. Now that place is pretty crazy. It's the 3rd busiest level 1 center in America. And doing that job, what you realize is the line between life and death, and it is razor thin. So in the time that the Lord has given you on this earth, try to help the most people that you can. Make the biggest difference that you can make. And I feel like I've been doing that. About 9 years ago, my wife Maya and I, we created this nonprofit called Healthy Tennessee. So I met Maya when I was 16 years old, my first and only girlfriend, and then I tricked her to become my wife. We have a 7-year-old boy and a 4-year-old girl. We went across Tennessee taking care of patients, talking about prevention, trying to get people on the front side of their health. Now, President Trump heard about this. This is a true story. He heard about this, invited me to the White House. So I go to the White House. He couldn't remember Manny, so he nicknamed me Tennessee. And spoke at one of his rallies. Look, right now more than ever, as Congressman Duncan was saying, we got to support the president. We got to have his back right now. And I felt like I was making a difference there. But now with this open U.S. Senate seat, I deeply in my heart feel it is a generational opportunity to make a difference. Generational opportunity to make a difference, but a different kind of difference. Now, as a congressman said, America is the greatest country on earth. Don't let anybody, anywhere, ever tell you different. My family's story, my personal story, is a testament to that. But we do face some challenges. And I want to talk to you about a couple. The first one is this mob that's burning and rioting and looting in the streets. And anybody says anything, they call you a racist. And these weak-kneed Republicans in Washington won't take them on. If I am your U.S. Senator, we will take them on. I promise you. Thank you. This pandemic we just faced. Look, I was there. I was on the front lines, seeing patients in the ICU, taking care of trauma patients. And look, what I learned in this thing is what we learned as a country. And that is that we are too reliant on the communist Chinese government. Our gowns, our gloves, our masks, so many of our medications, vital antibiotics, we can't make them here. We are reliant on our communist Chinese enemy. And this is a problem that the Washington Republican establishment started many years ago when they told us that China is our friend. But they are not. They are our enemy. And we have to have a second industrial revolution in this country and bring those supply chains back. We've got to do it. The other thing I've been hearing a lot about is Obamacare. Does anybody here like Obamacare? No? Okay, just making sure. Obamacare shows you the failure that happens when government gets between a patient and their doctor, or when government gets in the insurance market. Premiums go up, deductibles go up. We got to do something about it. And look, for the longest time, the Republicans in Washington, they said, give us the House, give us the Senate, and we will repeal and replace Obamacare. Did it happen? No, it didn't. Biggest failed political promise in American history. And they failed because we didn't have a plan. They couldn't articulate a clear plan to the American people. And now look, this is something that I've thought a lot about. I'm a healthcare preventative nonprofit. I'm a doctor. We need a free market-based plan with three things. We need to talk about pricing transparency, an individual insurance market without that large hand of government, and prevention. We got to stop paying to treat disease, and we got to start paying to promote wellness and prevention. And finally is illegal immigration. Now, look, this is something that's very personal to me. Because my parents, they came here legally with an L. They did it the right way. And I am the product of the American dream, and I was blessed to be born in this country. But here's the thing, my mom loves Fox News. She watches, y'all like Fox News? She watches Fox News like a lot. And this pandemic thing, she watches it a whole lot. And something will come on about illegal immigration, and she will get so fired up, and she will say, I stood in line. I waited my turn. So did your father. That is the American way. Look, it's not racist to talk about illegal immigration. And for years now, these Republicans, they don't want to take on the mob. They don't want to speak truth to power. They haven't made meaningful immigration reform. And we have to stop illegal immigration. If I am your next senator, number one, we will end chain-based migration. We will move to a merit-based system. We will build the southern border wall. 1 million people were arrested coming over here last year. That's not right. We need a wall. And finally, we will end birthright citizenship for illegal immigrants. It's got to change. But my whole life, the things I've done are driven by my faith in Jesus Christ. Whether that is as a doctor, or running a nonprofit, and now running for the Senate. Matthew 9 teaches us the harvest is plenty, but the workers are few. Harvest is plenty, workers are few. And my whole life, and everything I have tried to do, I have tried to be a worker. I have tried to make a difference. And in the next 3 weeks, early voting starts next Friday, you folks have a choice about who you're going to choose as your next U.S. Senator. It's as important as choosing your doctor. But look, on the one hand, you got the hand-picked Tennessee Republican establishment, Washington establishment, insider guy, Mitt Romney's best friend. And on the other hand, you got somebody like me, a conservative outsider, someone who's given their life to the service of people in Tennessee. 40 years ago, folks just like you in Coffee County, you gave these two immigrants from India a chance. You opened your doors to them, and look what happened next. I became a doctor. My brother became a doctor. I am running for the United States Senate. That is the American story. That is the power of this country. And 40 years later, this kid from rural Tennessee who's never run for anything, literally, not even student council, I'm here today and I'm asking you to help me, to support me, to vote for me. Send me to Washington, and together, let's take on the establishment. Let's finally solve some of these challenges of our country, of repealing and replacing Obamacare, of taking on the communist Chinese government, of taking on the mob, of ending illegal immigration. I need your help. Thank you so much.